one day there was a girl watching the kids play, and
So we finally reached the point in our homeschooling that I felt like we needed better shelving, better shelving for our schoolwork. I love having the schoolroom area right there off the kitchen, but it has not always been, sometimes it looks more like a junk corner to me than an actual schoolroom. And just kind of as we were prepping for Bruce's first grade year and ordering our next round of curriculum, I thought it was perfect timing to look into making a bookshelf. I know that there are bookshelves out there for sale, but trying to track down exactly what I wanted, because I in my mind I know exactly what I want to make our homeschool space ideal. So I decided it was best to design it. So I know I knew I wanted, instead of a lot of shelves, or two shelves that have a lot of curriculum on them, to kind of have the curriculum divided out by child. So I need at least 4 shelves for the 4 boys. And then we're going to additionally need shelving for literature books that we're reading all together, or that they're reading to themselves later on. I want it tall enough to slide stuff under, like a bin or a box under. And then we also are going to need space on top for just crafting supplies, those sorts of things. And so that's the goal. So I sat down and I drew out a general idea, roadmap of what I wanted to do. And then off we went to try and make that happen. So, it was so much fun to finally get out and get our hands on the materials. We picked them up while Bruce, Isaac, and Elliot were at Awanas. So it was just me, Bradley, and Teddy doing the shopping. We got it all laid out in the garage, and Bradley actually came home over his lunch break to help me get it all spray painted. It actually took 2 days to get all the spray painting done, because we had to turn over the planks and paint the back sides too, as well as the edges, because those were going to stick out in the design. Bradley let me put in the first nail, but I was super happy for his muscles to really get all the heavy lifting done. So I think we've agreed my best job is supervising or cheerleading, since Bradley has the know-how and he is getting this job done. Our main helper's taking a little snack break. Apple. So it's looking like it's lining up pretty great. Doing a great job, babe. Now that all the rungs are in place, it's time to put on the back. Now we'll set it up and get our first look at this shelf in all its height and glory.
Look at me being the cameraman and not helping in a pivotal moment.
That's journalism, babe. So my biggest frustration with this entire construction situation is the discovery that 2x4s are not always 2 inches by 4 inches. Turns out they are like 1 3/4 by 3.5 inches or 3 3/4, whatever it is. All of my measurements are off. So our shelves are not exactly fitting. So we're gonna pop off one side of the back, shave an inch off of my backing, and then we'll be ready to go again. So we're getting there. We're there. Hi, Simon.
Much better.
Nice. Even with the minor setbacks, all of the building was accomplished in one day. So after the painting was done, we were able to hammer the whole thing together in the course of a Saturday morning. Now it's all finished. When we first set it up, we thought it was a little wobbly, but it turns out we had set it on a fly swatter. So once we rectified that, it was sturdy and stood nicely on all fours. So now all we have to do is go back and touch up the spray painting, any little areas that don't look well covered. Some areas just needed a little extra, some areas we had missed altogether. So now it's done. The top shelf for all the crafting supplies, a shelf for all our literature, the books that read aloud or the books the boys will read to themselves, a shelf for Bruce, one for Isaac, one for Elliot, and one for Theodore. And there's even space underneath to slide our box of Play-Doh or other supplies. Of course, it had to dry out in the garage for like 24 hours, but I was super anxious to get the old shelf unloaded so we could move the new shelf in. We also needed to move all the charts that were behind or on the wall that would be covered by our new shelf. So in the picture of the boys that was featured in the newspaper, pulled everything off the walls to get the space ready. So our old school shelf was the perfect shelf to move to our entryway to house everyone's shoes. So they're less of a helter-skelter pile behind the front door. Now it's time for the big reveal. Here is our when we're done activity space, which freeing up that little bookshelf next to it gave us more space to organize those things in a more clean fashion. Here's the whole school area and looking at the bookshelf as well. And all the boys' stuff fits on it so nicely. And the spot for all the crafting supplies is nice and out of reach of little boy hands, so they can reach their school books, but they can't just help themselves to crafting supplies.
You guys are gonna put this stuff on here.
That's Teddy's school books. It's yours. Do you see your school books? What do you think?
It looks perfect.
Your shelf's way up here. Do you see? With your math book and your phonics.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yep. I just can't stop gushing over our new bookshelf, and the boys are loving it too. Our school time is all up and running.
See how Bud has on top. Uh-oh. The end. Pale bell.
So I couldn't be happier with our school shelf. I couldn't be happier with our school shelf. It turned out fantastically, and it is so easy to use. I love how the books are organized for the literature shelf, so it's really easy to get those for our morning school time. The craft area, I love that being at the top so that the kids can't just help themselves when I'm not quite ready for that. And the whole thing has been super functional, super easy, and I love the space that it is in right here in our little kitchenette schoolroom area. Definitely drop a comment below. Let me know what you think, and I'd love if you'd subscribe to my channel so you can catch my next videos.